moving forward with your life is not the same as moving on.
Hello, welcome to the Multiple Truths podcast. If you're listening, you're here with Brittany today, and I have a very, very special guest here with me. I'm really excited to introduce you. Her name is Brie Ocea. I actually came across her online. I felt really connected with her before I even knew her story. And when I heard her story, I was like, oh my goodness. This woman is so inspiring. And I know that, do you know what? I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to welcome her here. And you'll see in the episode, you'll know what I can't even articulate, you'll get from this episode today. So, ladies and gentlemen, those listening, Brie Ocea, hello.
Aw, thank you for that introduction, Brittany. I'm so excited to be here with you, and especially after talking to you for months now. It's exciting that we get to talk in person for the first time and on your podcast. That's pretty cool.
I'm honestly, you're the first person that came to mind because on this podcast here, I have episodes with the other two women and then we do our solo episodes. And you were the first person that came to my mind. I think I mentioned to you being on my podcast a while back, but the timing just didn't align. And I feel like this is why. Like, you're supposed to be here now, this platform, as opposed to the other one that I had. And anyways, I'm really excited to have this conversation with you today. Those listening, you're probably wondering, what is it? Like, what is the story? What are we getting into? You might have read the description, but you have a story. You've been through some things that, a lot of us can't even imagine. I want to say a parent's worst nightmare. And I'm getting, full body chills as I say this. I just kind of want to give you the mic. I want to know, like, what is your story? How are you doing today? How have you gotten to where you are? Because you do speak of your story, and that in and of itself just speaks to your strength and your resilience and everything about you, like how you handle yourself, how you hold yourself online. Like, what I see, I'm like, wow, this woman seriously has so much power. Like, I feel like that word doesn't even encompass it properly. But anyways, I just really want to hear from you today because I know that you have a lot to teach me, and I'm sure those listening as well.
Thank you. So I'm 26 years old, and I lost my son a year and a half ago in a drowning accident. He was 2.5 years old, and he drowned on my watch, as in I was the one there. Yeah, I was the one there. And like you were right, it is I think every parent's worst nightmare, and it was definitely mine. And looking back, it's really interesting because as soon as I had him, right, as soon as I gave birth to this kid, he became my whole world. My whole world. And it was terrifying because when somebody becomes your whole world, you know that there's a possibility of losing them, or at least for me, that possibility always felt very real.
First of all, I just want to say thank you. Like, thank you for having the courage to talk about this so candidly and so openly, because I know that you already are, but are going to speak to so many other people who have gone through something similar. And the fact that you even say it was on your watch, that just adds a whole extra layer.
Yeah.
And anyways, please continue.
I always had this fear of losing him. And I mean, I figured that every mom did, right? And I think every mom does, but not to the extent that I did. And it's because a part of me always knew.
I was going to say your soul knew.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying.
Totally. And I remember a year before it happened, I mean, I went through my spiritual awakening around 2020, like a lot of other people. And a big part of this was due to giving birth to a child. Okay. So a year after that, right? This is He's one. And I remember kneeling on the ground and just praying to God, to the universe, to source, and saying, do not take him from me. I knew either I had lost a child in a past life or would in some kind of life. And I said, not him. Don't take him.
Sorry, I'm just, you know, a mother's intuition is something that I want to speak of. First of all, that's coming to mind. The fact that your soul knew, because of course your soul knew. And I know this might be touchy for some people to hear, but I truly believe that you do sign up for everything that happens here. And I know that you think the same way. And so many people might think, excuse my language, but why the fuck would I sign up for that? You know what I'm saying? Because no parent deserves that. No mother, no father, no guardian deserves that. So why the fuck did I sign up for that? Why me? I mean, I could only imagine that's how, you felt. I know that you've really come a long way, and we'll get into that as well, and how the relationship has shifted, because I know that's something that you want to speak of, that I'd love to hear about how that relationship has really, really shifted. But I do want to ask, you mentioned he was your whole world. You made him your whole world, and that was taken from you. What was your process after? And you know what I'm saying? Like, how did you pick yourself back up? Because you're here talking about it today. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking about this. And that is, most people don't have the strength to do that, wouldn't have the strength to do that, but you do. You're 26 years old. Like, holy shit. I just feel like I really need to say that. It's incredible, like, who you are and what you've been through and the strength you have. Yeah, words don't even articulate the feeling.
Thank you. I would say it was definitely a very humbling experience, for sure. When I think back to who I was, I mean, I was 24 at the time. It feels like a different lifetime, right? It feels like a past life. And him being taken, or him leaving in the way that happened, it feels like I died too. It feels like he died, and it feels like I died with him. And the only difference is I'm still here, though, and he's not physically here anymore. I really, really, really had to lean on spirituality during this time. And at first, I felt very numb, and I felt upset and confused, and almost like I don't want to be in any kind of world that he's not in. And I had to really deeply understand that I'm not in a world he's not in. Like, he is still here, but he's so much more involved in my life and in life than I think lots of people understand, or people who lose loved ones understand. Like, they're very interested in us. They're very interested in our lives, and they play a big part of our day to day. And I miss him so much. But I also get to play with him every single day still.
Oh, I have chills everywhere as you're speaking. And I love that you're talking about this, because I haven't been through grief like that, so I cannot relate on that sense. With my experience in mediumship, I do understand that, though, how you can have a relationship with them in spirit. It's different. It's a different relationship. I do want to acknowledge, though, you said you still miss him. It doesn't take away from the fact that he's not here with you physically. You know what I'm saying? And grief happens in layers. Like I said, I haven't experienced that sort of grief, but I know that it happens in layers. And I'm sure, even though he brings you so much joy currently, and we're going to talk about that now, and I'm really curious how you were able to get to that point, because, I know that you're talking about you get to play with him every day. He's like your little angel. I can only imagine.
Yep.
Which is so special, is so special. Your little angel, your little sidekick, and you still feel him and this and that. But it doesn't take away from the fact that he's not here physically with
Right.
you.
Right. And that's very important because it would be easy almost to spiritually bypass this.
Yes.
And I tried. I tried.
Mm. Ooh, so I'm really curious and whatever you're comfortable with sharing, you know what
Right.
I'm saying, but what did that process look like, and I want to acknowledge the realness of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Right.
said, no spiritual bypassing here. How did you get from that devastating, life altering, earth shattering moment
Right.
to where you're at now? You talked of the numbness, which totally makes sense to me because it's like, it's like, you're, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say ego, but that ego protecting yourself numb, like I can't feel this. I can't feel
Totally.
this. I can only imagine a lot of people probably would resonate with that. So I'm just, yeah, how did you get to here? Like what did that look like for you?
So at the beginning, losing him, I mean, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the 7 stages of grief, but definitely denial was really big for me. And within denial for me, because I had already had my spiritual awakening, spiritual bypass was a big part of that because I was like so not consciously aware that my child died. It was more of this numbness, not understanding what happened, but like me trying to not only convince myself, but everyone around me, because everyone's devastated, but I want to convince everyone around me, oh, it's okay. He's still here. Oh, it's okay. He's still spiritually here. His body just physically died. And like, that's true, but it's okay to miss him. It's okay to miss him. Like my kid died. My whole life changed. I'm not going to hug him anymore. I'm not going to smell him anymore. Like it's not the same. I don't get to watch him grow up.
Like that's earth shattering. And I think it's so important to really talk about this
Yeah.
piece, because we are going to talk about how they're still here in spirit and how that is so
It's
beautiful, and
beautiful.
it's important. But like you said, we can't bypass, especially like the first stages. You're talking about denial. And something else I wanted to mention, going back, this keeps coming to my mind. You mentioned how it was on your watch.
Yeah.
I know you know this, but like this wasn't your fault. But I could only imagine how maybe you or people in similar situations, when something happens on your watch, how you might take that on. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that adds a whole extra layer. But so how did you deal with that as well? Because I know it wasn't your fault. How did you deal with that piece as well?
Well, I'm still dealing with that. I am still day to day dealing with that because I mean the mom guilt alone can eat you alive.
Yeah.
And I communicate with him today in my little ways, and he definitely tells me often, reassures me often it wasn't my fault, reassures me often that he didn't sign up to be here for that long. However, it was still an accident that happened on my watch, and it was still a preventable accident, right? If he was going to go, like, it was a preventable accident and he could have gone a different way, if that makes sense. Like, so that's something I'm really trying to educate people on too, if I can go ahead with that, is
Please.
yeah. So he drowned. I would take him swimming all the time. And I knew to be careful. I knew to watch him around the water, but the extent of how dangerous it is for children to be near bodies of water is way higher than I even knew. And I think that a lot of people know. So drowning is the leading cause of death for children under 4. The leading cause of death. It only takes 30 seconds for your child to drown. 30 seconds is nothing.
Nothing. It's oh, I'm distracted by my phone for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Or oh, there's a bird over there for 30
Oh, yeah.
seconds.
Oh, yeah. And it's silent. So drowning is silent. It's a fast and silent killer, and that's why it's the leading cause of death for children under 4. So there was actually like lots of people ask me, well, why didn't you hear him? Why weren't you watching? There was another kid in the hot tub when he drowned. Oh, people are so mad at that kid. They're like, well, what was that kid doing? The kid didn't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. There's no commotion. There's no splashing. It's under the water. You're not seeing anything, and it's fast. So there's just a lot of misconceptions with that people don't really understand that I'm trying to like help spread awareness with.
No, I really do appreciate that. It's definitely, whatever, honestly, whatever you think is important for people to hear, like, let me know. I want to make sure that everything you want to speak of today or think is important to speak of today, like, please bring it to my attention. I know that I want to hear, and I'm sure that the listeners want to hear as well. One thing I do want to say is, and I know, again, this, and for those listening, anyone who might have been through anything similar, like, it really is not your fault. And it is so important to let yourself feel what you need to feel, though, so you don't, again, spiritually bypass any of those emotions, because of course you're going to feel that way. Logically, you might know it's not my fault, but I mean, I could only imagine if I were in that position, I would feel the same way. And it is so necessary to acknowledge those feelings, because if you don't, if you bypass those feelings, you're going to shove it down, and it is going to create a bigger issue for you down the line. People say time heals, but I don't think time heals. All time does is shove things down more. It buries it down until you maybe don't see it anymore, but it's there and it can grow into something bigger. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that as well. And my heart really, really does go out to you. Like I said, I can't imagine. I feel like, and I'm not just saying this, but your soul, holy shit, you signed up for some big things on this earth. Not putting any pressure on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to unfold exactly how it's supposed to, but holy shit, your soul, I feel like you're going to have such an impact on this world. And again, without even trying, because it's just going to be your life, but you already do have an impact. So I just want to acknowledge that for you, because a lot of people wouldn't sign up for something like that because they wouldn't be able to come out on the other side. You're only 2 years in and you're already talking about this. Like I said, like, I can't even articulate how much respect and how much I admire you. So I really, really just need to say that again. But moving on to what we were saying before, the process for you from going from that numbness and the what was the word you used when you were bypassing? Sorry, say that again.
Denial.
Denial. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. The denial. How did that move for you from there?
Right. I actually spent a long time in numbness, spiritual bypass, and denial.
Mm.
And I had a dream about him a few months after losing him. And in this dream, we were flying. It was a lucid dream. And after the flight, he tells me that he's excited for his little sister to come to Earth. And we got pregnant a month later with a girl.
Oh gosh, I have chills. Oh, wow. And right there, that just proves, not that you needed it to prove to you, but it shows like the dream. You really were connecting with your son. It really is real. The fact that we can have these relationships with those who have passed at the same, in a different way. But even though it's not tangible, like I said, it doesn't take away from the pain. They're not here physically, but it really shifts. And it is real. You can have a relationship with those in spirit. And congratulations with the baby girl. She's born, I believe.
She is.
Right?
She's 10 months now.
Oh, so sweet.
Adorable. And I can tell that they're close.
Of course.
Yeah. But you can imagine I'm already in denial and I'm already in numbness. So then I get pregnant and it's like at that point, I don't feel like I even have a chance to really grieve him because everything's moving so fast. I just lost a child. Yeah, I just lost a child. Now I'm preparing for this new child to come in, and I'm preparing for new life, and I'm excited about her, but I'm grieving him, and it's just whirlwind.
And one thing I want to say to that, I can only imagine, like, when you go through something devastating like this, it takes time to feel everything you need to feel, to grieve, and it happens in layers. But I can only imagine it's like it stops your world, but the world doesn't stop. The world keeps going. I want to comment on that. Like you said, it's like how it must have been so confusing, And one thing I want to say to that, like, it is possible. I think a lot of people, and please, like, speak on this if you feel like I'm wrong or if you agree or whatever it may be. I feel like a lot of people feel like when they're in pain, it's like the whole world is pain, or when you're feeling joy, the whole world is joy. And I'm like, you can have the capacity to feel two polar opposite things simultaneously. And I feel like
Yeah,
that's kind of what you were experiencing.
totally. And I think that is very important to bring up. So thank you for mentioning that. A lot of people look at me today and I'm not healed. Like, I have not gotten over it. I have not let him go. And they kind of look at me, and I choose to be happy. Okay. And they're assuming that I've moved on from him. And it almost pisses them off. It makes them mad to see me enjoying my life. I'm in a relationship right now, and I find it very fulfilling and happy and fun and exciting. And it's like people just don't understand. And moving forward with your life is not the same as moving on.
Wow. Moving forward with your life is not the same as moving on. Full body chills, like the wisdom behind those words. Thank you for saying that, because you are so worthy of all of the happiness. You are so worthy of the joy that this new relationship is bringing, your new daughter is bringing into your life. You are so worthy. Just because you dealt with something that quite literally shattered your life, like we were saying, the two things can live simultaneously. It doesn't mean that you're not grieving. Grief is a forever thing. It's a forever thing. You're going to grieve for forever, but it's going to look different as the years progress, as your relationship with your son shifts. And I just want to say to you, those people that you're triggering, and I know you probably know this already, but it bothers you. And of course it bothers you, not trying to take away from the fact that it bothers you, but it's a reflection of something within them. It's like when you trigger somebody, there's something within them that is not clicking. Because with that said, of course that's frustrating, like, especially when they don't understand, because I could only imagine that most people don't have to go through something like this. Or sometimes when people do go through things like this, unfortunately, they stay in that sadness.
Yeah.
You said you choose to be happy.
Yes. And it is a daily choice. And I think it's that way for a lot of people. I've gone through something pretty traumatic, honestly, but I feel like everybody here are experiencing their own unique set of challenges and difficulties that are divinely chosen for each one of us, and to help us wake up from the dullness of life or the matrix of life, into greater and more. So just because my situation, what's happened with me is pretty traumatic, I don't want to take that away from anybody else and anything else somebody is going through, So I am hoping to, like, moving forward with connecting with people. I want to connect with people who not only are going through loss, but just going through hard shit. It doesn't matter what it is,
Yeah. No, thank you for saying that. And again, that just speaks to you and, like, the wisdom you hold already at such a young age to say that, because, I know, and I know I've been like this before. When you're going through something hard, it's like you almost feel like, how do I say it? But it's like, it's easy to listen to somebody else and what they're going through and be like, oh, well, what I've went through is what I've been through is so much worse. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like to have that compassion and to have that understanding that you do, like I just is for such a, like, you're young, 26, like I'm young too, but you're like 26, like Thank you for saying that, because that's just speaks more of who you are. Like, everyone listening, you got to go follow her. I'll make sure that all of your stuff's below. We'll get to that at the end, but I'm really curious if you're willing to like talk about this, like, and I know you're still healing, and of course you're still healing, you're still like working through it, and I'm sure it looks different day to day, and I'm sure it looks, different for different people. There's a couple things I'm curious if there's like, you said the spirituality has really helped you. I'm curious if there's anything that you can, anything that's really helped you specifically, and then also I really would love to hear some stories of how you connect
Um,
with your son now.
yeah. So I would say specifically what's helped me has been community, talking to other people, relating to other people. And that goes a bit into us all experiencing our own unique sets of challenges. And that's why it's important for me to connect to just anybody. And it's interesting too, because I love, let's say I'm at a grocery store, okay, and somebody asks me about my kids. I'll go ahead and tell them, oh, I have two kids. And if it gets brought up about Romeo, like I'll let them know, like, oh, yeah, I lost him in a drowning accident. The ability to connect with the random grocer at some grocery store and have her tear up and feel me and I feel her, and I'm never going to see her again. I don't need her number. I don't need her socials, but it's like for that moment, we connect human to human. And it's made that connection so much more important for me. Life is just not as dull. It's important now. Everything has meaning. Everything has meaning. And it's that way. I think it can be that way for everybody. You don't have to go through something like this for everything to have meaning, and everybody you stand in front of to mean something to you as well.
Wow. No, thank you for saying that. I think that's so beautiful. It really puts things into perspective. You know what I mean? Like, it really puts things into perspective. And I love how you talked about community, because that's something that, I'm learning more recently too, the importance of community. And I love that you found community, and that, you have people that hopefully have really rallied around you, or just people you can talk with. Like, that is so, so incredible. So, for anyone listening, regardless of what it is that you're going through, don't isolate yourself. Don't do it. You can lean on people, even if you think that they're not going to understand you. Lean on them, even if they're just there to listen and to hold you. And I really love how you spoke of the connection, the human connection that you might even have with a random stranger. I think that every connection is so divine and not a coincidence. Even if you don't take their number or whatever, I'm sure that some of those conversations or run ins that you have really shifted things for a person.
Yeah, I think so too. And for me as well, like the fact that they can meet me there. And then I can also see too, some people I'll tell my story or talk to, and they aren't even capable of meeting you there because they're very surface level. And I mean, that's not their fault. They just probably haven't had enough experience yet or allowed themselves to go there or don't want to.
I always say a person can only meet you as deeply as they have met themselves. And if they haven't met themselves to that level yet, it's not a reflection of you. You know what I'm saying? And I know you obviously know this. You're a living example of these things, but it's also not to take that personally too, because I know that's some things that I've had to learn. Sometimes it can be frustrating when a person doesn't hear you or see you or understand you, and it's not taking it personally because they are yet to get there themselves. And it's also honoring where every person is at on their journey. So I would love for some stories or examples of, yeah, how you connect with your baby angel with Romeo now.
So I love that you call him my angel, and you called him my angel earlier. And I was like, ah, the day of the accident. So this was several hours before the drowning. This is one of my last memories with him, my last clear memory of him. We're cuddling in bed, and he had just woken up from his nap, and he takes his hand and he puts it on my cheek, and he has these ginormous brown eyes. He looks at me with his huge brown eyes, and he goes, for the first time ever, I've never heard him say this. He goes, Mama, am I your angel? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, literally full body chills.
Yeah. Yes. And so every single time I start to doubt, was this meant to be or whatever, like, is he still there? I think of that memory and I'm like, of course he is. I looked at him and I said, yes, you are my angel. And he laughs and he goes, ha ha ha. And he goes, Mama, am I your stinker? And I'm like, yeah, you're my stinker. And looking back now, I'm like, you little stinker. Like, you left me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like even his soul knew to leave you those little, I don't know if clues is the right word, but those little moments to look back on. Truly. Like that's not a coincidence. Those were the words that he used with you at all.
Oh, yeah. And then when we're leaving the apartment to go to the swimming pool, he goes and he says goodbye to everything in the apartment. He says, and I've seen him do something like this before, but he intentionally goes and says bye to everything. Goodbye bed, goodbye TV, goodbye Blippy, goodbye cars, goodbye toys. And I was thinking it was really cute at the time. But now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that kid freaking knew. He knew.
Oh yeah. Oh, oh. I'm like literally speechless. Like literally, I don't even know what to say to that. I want to say that's crazy, but it's not crazy. Like his soul knew. Maybe his human mind was just doing his little cute, baby thing, but his soul knew exactly what was going on.
And here's the thing too, is when I think about it, it pisses me off that it happened on my watch. Like I'm so mad at myself. But then I think deeper and I'm like, would I want anyone else there for his last moments? No. I wanted to be there for his last moments. And I know my soul would have signed up for that. It was nobody else's. It was mine and his.
And what I was going to say when you said that is nobody else, it wouldn't have been able to be anybody else because nobody else would have been able to have that on them. Do you know what I'm saying? But you can because your soul, like I said, is that powerful and your soul, like could handle it. And not that it makes it any easier, not trying to bypass that, but it really does speak to you and your strength. And it's like takes my breath away a little bit. And I think it's so beautiful. Like you were saying before, like, why did it have to happen in that way? But it's almost beautiful in the sense that you were there. You did sign up for it because you could take it, but you also got to have those moments with him, which,
Definitely. And I even just barely put this little part of it together the other day. I was thinking back to that day we were at the pool. So we had just walked in. We were in the pool area for 3 minutes tops. I see a mom and her face lights up the second she sees me because from what I know about her, she's new to the area. She doesn't have a lot of friends. She has a little kid. They're sitting on a bench. And so they come and they meet us halfway. So I meet her halfway. Romeo runs ahead to go play with her kid at the bench. So I'm with the mom. And I remember like kind of looking around and it's a little bit later. It's like 7 o'clock and everything's pretty shadowy. There's a little patch of sun over here. So I follow the sun. And today, the sun, I mean, that's a play on words, is a huge symbol for me. And that's him. Like that's his soul. So I go and I follow the sun and I sit in this little patch of sun and I am just out of view of the hot tub at this moment. So I sit down and I talk to her for like 2 minutes. And then I say out loud, "Where's Romeo?" I stand up and I look and I don't see Romeo. So I start moving towards the hot tub. I see her son in the hot tub. And then I see him face down in the water. So everything at this point is like a dream. I feel like I'm in a dream. I'm in my worst nightmare. This is my worst nightmare. And I'm telling myself, wake up, wake up, wake up. This isn't real. But a part of me knows it's real. A part of me new. And I start performing CPR. I don't know how to do CPR. People are calling 911, calling ambulances. And his body, as I'm holding his body, he's regurgitating throw up. He's convulsing and his lips are turning blue. But he wasn't at this point. He wasn't in his body. His soul had already moved on. And I knew that.
Yeah, he wasn't as what all I'm thinking as you're saying this is like, it sounds like he, that sounds scary. It sounds like he was feeling that, but he didn't feel that. He didn't feel that. And, that ray of sunlight, I feel like was him, you were with him. And like, I just like can't even imagine that whole experience for everybody, for you specifically. And, you said your soul knew. That's, like I said, I can't even imagine. I want to say too, thank you for being so open today. And we're going to talk more, but thank you. Thank you for being so candid and just so open and raw about all of this, because I know that bringing it up again is not easy. It's like cracking that wound a little bit. And just the lead up, the him saying goodbye, the mommy, am I your angel, the little ray of sun, like, and I'm getting chills as I'm bringing it up. It was all perfectly planted. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a part of the plan, as shitty as that is to accept, or as hard as it is to accept, because like I said, it doesn't take away from the realness of this experience.
Or how mad I am about it, or the mom guilt that I feel. Because me being able to recognize, like, okay, there was a higher plan at play, I'm still letting myself feel the guilt necessary because I have to. I have to.
You have to. And if you want to talk about that too, like we could talk about that too if you want, like whatever you're comfortable with talking about. But like, and just in the spiritual community in general, spiritual bypassing is a real thing when it comes to just so many different things. So I really love that you're bringing that up today. And we're talking about how you can't just bypass these real things, because yes, there's a bigger plan at play. Yes, it's because your soul signed up for it, because your soul is wise and you have a big thing to do here. So sometimes we have to go through these hard things to learn what we need to learn, but it's still real.
It's still
real.
Yes. And I mean, I signed up to experience this for a reason, right? So I'm not going to be here and be like, oh, well, it was all meant to be. It was all meant to happen. So I'm just not going to like let myself feel the feelings. Like, no, I'm experiencing this for a reason,
Yes. And you're letting yourself feel all of those feelings for a reason. Trying to. Yeah. Yeah. And that's all you can do. That's all you can do. And like layer by layer, I'm sure that, with the stages of grief and as it continues through your whole life, you're going to feel it more. And I could only imagine it probably comes and go in waves.
Definitely. Yeah. It'll come in waves.
I'm curious, you had that little, he gave you those little like moments ahead of time, which is beautiful. Like I can't, like I can't help but smile when I think of that, because that is very special, like that is very special. And, I'm curious how he's like shown up for you, like now, like how you play with him now.
He is very a part of my day-to-day life. And there will be, I mean, especially recently, he's been visiting me a lot. I've been going through it, honestly, after losing him, getting pregnant, having another baby, with the same dad. And we recently broke up and we've been together for 6 years. That's been really hard. And I've been feeling Romeo through that this whole time. It was one of those relationships where we were really good friends, but there wasn't that romantic aspect. And I just have known that we would be better apart But pulling the plug on that, and then also being okay with recognizing that relationship wasn't for me, but I'm ready for love. I'm ready for my relationship, and I really do feel ready. And then manifesting that fulfilling, satisfying relationship I'm in now. But not only that, Romeo brought this person to me.
Chills.
Yeah. And he knows that.
Of course he does.
He does.
Oh, I can't help but like laugh. Like whenever I think of him, it's like I just want to laugh. And I mean that in like a beautiful way because I feel like that's his energy. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah,
Like,
he's fun. He's
like
fun.
like I'm seeing him like just like did he like to tease you, poke and like
Yes, he's very playful and total mama's boy, full of laughter, really fun. And that's what I get to do when I kind of tune into him. Is he's just like very fun. And he keeps telling me like, Mom, this isn't a sad story. Like, this isn't a sad story. We're here to have fun. We're here to play.
like a real, like a literal angel. And I think it's so beautiful that he brought in this new relationship. Of course it was him. He's going to make sure that you are taken care of for the rest of your life. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know.
Like,
And he's been bringing me angels in form of people in my life too. Like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have been able to leave this last relationship unless I had the support that I had that stepped in when they stepped in. And they also know that Romeo brought them to me, that Romeo's been playing a part. And I've had, like, Brittany, the amount of support I've had through this time of my life has been incredible. And it's that guy right there. It's Romeo. Yeah.
I literally just feel so much joy as as you're talking about this. I really do. I think it's so sweet, in that sense, not taking away from everything we were talking about before, but the dynamic now, I think is so sweet and so special. And I
so
just want
fun. It's
and fun. I
Yeah.
love that you say that. I love that it's fun and it's exciting. I love how you're able to bring that in as well. Again, it's possible to feel more than one way about a certain thing, the yin and the yang, the light and the dark. And I just want to commend you for making that decision as well to step away from your relationship because I know that in and of itself that's not easy for one when you're, not even having kids, but the fact that the two of you share Romeo but also share your baby girl that's here in life as well, that's two other whole layers onto it. So I really want to speak to how you've chosen yourself. Like that's huge. And that's really, really not easy. Like self-love, choosing you. And I tell people this, like when you choose you, your life will start to change. And I would love to hear like how you've chosen you, like how was that for you? Because with everything as well, like I said, in society, it's hard enough to choose yourself. But when you add on these layers, it makes it even harder to choose yourself. So yeah, I would love to hear what that was like for you in any which way, just for those listening.
Right. So that's actually been a huge journey for me. And really hard, really hard. It's easy to just say like, oh yeah, just choose yourself, choose happiness, right? That's what's best for you. And like logically you understand that. But when you're actually in it, so I've been with this person for a long time. We lost a child together. We've been through immense trauma together. We love each other deeply. It would be easy out of comfortability and out of, what's the word? Responsibility. Responsibility, comfortability, feeling like duty. It would be easy out of responsibility and duty to stay with this person and raise our daughter together. However, I knew I was not happy in the relationship. And in taking that step of leaving him and choosing myself, although people looking in might say, oh, that's not great as a mother, like you should stay with him and continue the family. Like, I can't believe you're giving up on your family. I'm like, I'm not happy. I need to choose me. And that's the best thing for her. That's the best thing for him too. And it was really like, even saying this right now seems a lot easier than it was. It was really hard. But my life since has been so fun.
I
I
love that
know.
for you because you are so deserving. Like you are so deserving of all of the beautiful things. But sometimes to allow those things in, you do need to say goodbye to things. And it can be
Yes.
really hard when
Yes.
you have judgment, when you have people looking in, when you have these
Yes.
voices, the voices of society, the voices of your
Mhm.
parents, the
Mhm.
voices of your friends,
Of his
people.
parents, of his family. Yeah. I was living with them.
Wow.
Girl, your
Wow.
tarot readings, they helped me so much. They helped
Aw.
validate what I already knew.
Ah.
Cycles coming to a close, choosing yourself, choosing happiness,
Mm.
being brave enough to fall in love again, new love coming in. Like
Mm.
it has been spot on for me. So I just want to
Oh.
thank you for that because you've been another angel in my life.
Oh. Oh, honestly, like, sorry, it's, like, making me emotional. Like, it's truly such an honor. No, it's, like, such an honor to have touched your life in any sort of
Oh,
way,
yeah.
and I truly mean that, so here I'm crying. My eyes are getting watery. Maybe the um, it's an honor, truly, just seeing you and, like, what you've done, how far you've come, and I know that, again, with no pressure because this is not putting pressure on you, like, "Oh, I'm here to do something. I need to do something big." Like, already you're impacting so many people, and just the evolution of your soul in and of itself by, like, choosing you, by working on you and by letting yourself feel the loss of your son, feel the birth of your new daughter, the loss of your relationship, to go through all of those things, you're evolving. And that's what Earth needs. And you took it on in a very big way. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going through a lot of things, not taking away from other people's experiences and what they go through either, but it's huge, and by you doing this, like, it has a ripple effect, like, you are helping the planet so much, truly, and just seeing you just step into I can't wait for you to, like I mean, you're already stepping into your power, but I really cannot wait for you to be, like do you know what I'm saying? Because
I
I
know what
just,
you're saying
like
because I feel it. I
yeah.
know it's there, and it's so fun, and it's there for so many other people too, and it really
Mhm.
starts with you. It really starts with you choosing yourself, with you putting your happiness first, right? And every experience that you experience helps you get there, helps you wake up, helps you identify more and more and more with your higher self.
Yes. I always say the best thing you can do for not only you, but
Right.
everybody else around you
Right.
is to put you first.
Right. And you're going to piss a lot of people off.
Yeah, yes. And it's going to make you feel uncomfortable
Mhm.
because we've been taught and programmed to put ourselves second, especially as a mom,
Oh, yeah.
especially as a parent,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? I just admire you so much. I really do. And it's just an honor that my readings touched you in any sort of way and helped you on your path, truly. And I know we'll meet in person one day and I'm looking forward to that day whenever the universe has, our souls connect. Yeah, in life, in physical form. I'm
Uh,
really excited.
oh, so
It's
fun.
like making me
So
excited.
cool.
But I'm curious if it's funny, the sun, it's like a cloudy day here and the sun is like peeking through a little bit. I'm like, hi, Romeo. Like, it's like,
I
I feel like
know.
it's a little hello. It's literally so cloudy and it's peeking through a little bit. But,
That is
anyways,
saying hello.
it's like we're about to start wrapping up. He's like, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
I need my time to shine. I love
Mhm.
that. The clouds are going back over now, but that was definitely a little high there. I just needed to point that out. But I'm just curious if there was anything else at all that you were really hoping to talk of today that maybe we didn't get to yet.
I guess I really wanted, I think we hit most of them. I wanted to speak on the relevance of when you lose somebody, it sucks and it's sad, but they're not lost to you. And they're very involved in your life and they love you and they're playing with you every day. And the more that you recognize that and the more that you let them in and you let in this new kind of relationship, the more you'll see it and the more fun it gets. And this person, they're not missing you, they're very connected with you.
Thank you for saying that. That's actually something my mediumship teacher says all the time. It's like, they're
Wow.
not missing you, you
Wow.
know? Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, no, you're bang on. And when we were speaking the other day, and you mentioned, it's a different form of relationship
Yeah.
now. That's something else my mediumship teachers speak of. It's like, it's not, it is still a relationship. It doesn't take away from the fact they're physically not here, but you can still build a different form of relationship. You just have to be open and
Yeah.
receptive to it. And it can be hard sometimes, like, sometimes when it's like, when people don't know how to connect. I just want to feel them. How do I feel them?
Right.
So I'm curious, maybe, I don't know if you can speak of this, but
Yeah.
I know some people might be wondering, well, how does he play with you? Like, how does
Right.
that look like for you? How do you know?
Right. Well, a big part of that is connecting deeper to myself. The more I connect to myself, because guess where he's at? He's connected to me. So the more I'm connected to myself, the more I feel him, the more I recognize him when he plays with me. Because they're playing with you, but it's do you recognize it? Do you feel it inside? Do you resonate with it? So that's huge. Connecting deeper to yourself, connecting deeper to where you're going in life, right? To your life evolution, to your higher self, to all of that. They're a big part of that, and they're helping that whole thing. So that's been huge for me. It's really fun when I just in my day to day, like let's say I get random memories of him. Sometimes these memories oftentimes they feel sad, and it feels like, oh, I miss him. But then as I'm thinking that, somebody behind me will say, oh, butterfly. And butterfly for me is a huge symbol. And I'm like, he's right there. Like he might be right there. Exactly. I noticed your necklace immediately.
I literally
Yeah.
wasn't wearing, like, I was wearing, like, I just put this on the other day, or yesterday I just put it on. It's not one I wear very frequently. And when I was deciding what necklace I wanted to wear for this interview, because I was wearing two, I was like, I'm wearing the butterfly one. This is never one that I normally
Love,
wear. So
love. So his symbols, two of his main ones is blue butterfly and then the sun. Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
So all our memories pop in, and then I'll see a butterfly, or somebody behind me will say butterfly or butterfly tattoos, anything like that. And those are just small little ways. It grows, and it's different for every single person, but you can start that small.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sure, for those listening too, it gives them some, I don't know if more tangible, but it is different for everyone. And it is a matter of getting to know yourself more and
Yes.
choosing you and aligning with your soul path and all of those
Yeah.
things. So I think that you explain that beautifully. Thank you. And I love how you talk about it being fun too, because I think that's just like such a beautiful piece. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being so open and raw, and for, telling your story today. I know that it's definitely going to inspire and impact the listeners. I know it inspires me every day. Like when I think of you, like truly it does. So thank you. Ugh, I just have so much love for you, and I'm really excited to see where things go for you and whatever you end up doing on this earth. You have me as your little cheerleader. So
Thank you. And
I'm
vice
really,
versa.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love it so much. Where can my audience find you?
So I'm on Instagram, and you can find me at Brie Ocea, or on TikTok at Brie Ocea. I did take a little bit of a break from creating, but I know I'm going there, and I would love to have part of your community, or whoever resonates with my story. I'd love to connect with them. So that would be beautiful.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I will make sure to have your links all tagged in the description box below. So everyone, please go give her a follow if you feel called, of course. I'm pretty sure they will. But thank you again so much. Was there any final thoughts that you wanted to leave the audience today?
I think that hit it. I think that was great. I feel very good about this. I think this was
Good.
awesome.
That makes my heart so happy. Thank you all so much for listening today. Thank you again, Bria, for being. Did I say Bria? It's Brie, right?
Brie.
Briosha.
Brie.
I'm Brie. I'm like combining like
It's a
the
little bit of a
Osha Bria.
mouthful.
I'm like, why did I do that? All of a sudden, I'm like, that was wrong. But thank you so much, Brie, for being here today. And again, for just being so vulnerable. That's something else that I just think is such a strength. A lot of people are afraid to be vulnerable. So thank you for showing up authentically and being so vulnerable today. Yeah, I just, words, like I said, just don't articulate how grateful I am to really chat with you. Thank you for the listeners. And I'll leave it there until next time.
Cool. All
Bye,
right.
everyone.